Taurus, welcome to your astrology reading for the month of May. And so before I get started, this is going to be best for your rising sign. So your first house, your ascendant, however you kind of pull it in your birth chart, that's what your rising sign is. Your sun sign, the one you're most familiar with. So that is how you express yourself versus the rising, how other people perceive you. And then there's your moon sign, which is your emotional lens. So really how you process everything that way. And so it's a good idea to listen to all three and just see how the month is going to shape up for you. In the month of May, we have a lot of Taurus energy. So it's going to impact you physically in your first house. And then we also have a lot of Gemini energy. And so that's going to impact your house of personal finances. This could be money in your savings account. This could be your relationship with money. It could have something to do with what you value. So thinking of things like maybe within your home that have some sort of personal value or even a monetary value connected to them. So this is really going to be highlighted throughout the month. And the energy is going to kind of, there's going to be a lot of back and forth, and right away I'm going to tell you it's about Pluto stationing retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. This is going to be a theme throughout the month. And so Pluto is the planet of transformation, and when it stations retrograde, it takes all that external transformation that's been happening in the sign of Aquarius. It's a very liberating sign. It's about breaking down barriers, things like that. Now with this retrograde, it's about turning that energy inward. And so that's going to happen on May 2nd at 1:47 in the afternoon Eastern time. And so right away when this happens, there is a trine between Pluto and Jupiter. Pluto in the sign of Aquarius is going to impact your 10th house of career and public reputation. So this would be some sort of internal change as it relates to maybe the way that you want to be seen or the type of career that you want to have here, because there's something about some sort of liberating transformation as it relates to Jupiter and Taurus. And so this is going to be your first house of self. Jupiter is expansive, growth, all the positive things. It's known as the Great Benefic. And so wherever it touches, it does tend to turn things to gold, kind of thinking of like the Midas touch here. And so Jupiter and Taurus, again, affecting your first house. This is giving you an opportunity to really make some changes to who you are, how people see you, because that's that first house energy. And how does that translate into maybe some sort of career advancement or something with your public reputation? Because there's something about these two that is going to come into some sort of play here. But it's not just that Jupiter in Taurus trine. Pluto retrograde is also going to be trine Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Uranus is another planet of transformation. It's more sudden change than anything else. Pluto and Uranus can both kind of cause some upheaval here. But Pluto retrograde in your 10th house indicates that you're trying to make some sort of changes in your career, public reputation, and now it's Uranus and Taurus. What changes do you need to make to yourself? Where do these changes need to occur? What is it about your physical self? Is it your appearance? Is that going to help you with your career? Is there something maybe connected to, I don't know, like diet or something else that would impact your physical body? That would be highlighted here. We'll also have Pluto sextile Mars. Mars is in the sign of Aries. And so again, talking about and thinking about those internal changes that you want to make to your career and public reputation. Now that's creating an opportunity for you to make some sort of internal change. Mars in Aries is sitting in your 12th house. It's your subconscious. It's really your inner voice here. It could be your spiritual self. And so not only are you seeing some sort of change or some sort of impact to your external self, this is another inward change, and it's going to impact maybe your subconscious, the way that you see yourself, maybe just how you see yourself in your career or how you see yourself having the type of public reputation that you want here. All of this is being highlighted for you, but it's not done. Pluto is also sextile Neptune and Pisces. Neptune and Pisces is all about your dreams, your wishes. If you think about really those kind of big picture items, what is it that you're really looking for here? That is sitting in your 11th house. And so the changes to your career, probably more public reputation at this point, because it does relate to your community. It's creating an opportunity here for you to really stand out in the community the way that you want to be seen. There's something here about your presence in the community and the changes that you're making to yourself that are meant to benefit you. So if you have a career that has you traveling and out meeting people or connecting with people on a regular basis, this would be a lot of maybe internal changes that you're making to yourself, maybe some physical changes that you're making to yourself, and then really taking those improvements into your career, into your community around you, maybe even into your friendships here. Then we'll also have Pluto square Venus in the sign of Taurus. So Venus is the ruler of Taurus. We have actually a lot of that happening here. Mars is the ruler of Aries. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. We have Venus in Taurus. And so a lot of that energy really being amplified. But a square typically represents some sort of obstacle or challenge. But Venus is a positive energy here. There's only two benefic planets. They're both sitting in the sign of Taurus. It's Jupiter and it's Venus. And so with this, it's about the internal changes happening to your career and public reputation might be causing a little bit of friction in how you want to be. There might be something here that you need to work on as it relates to how you want to be seen or what you value about yourself. How do you make some sort of improvement here? It's not like it's an impossible thing here. It's a square. It can be worked with. That energy is possible. In fact, all the energies are possible. You just have to put the effort in. So it could actually, because I made a note here, it could be creating some sort of obstacle to prioritizing your own needs, your own physical needs here. And so just kind of keep that in mind. It's, you know, kind of balancing the both. That changes to your career and public reputation, and then how does that align with who you want to be. Then on the 7th, we'll have the new moon in the sign of Taurus. So that's going to happen at 11:22 p.m. Eastern time. And so when that happens, we'll have the sun, moon, Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus all in the sign of Taurus. And so that's a lot of energy. With this new moon, the moon and the sun are at the same degree point in the sky. And so this is really shedding a lot of light on your emotions, what you value. Taurus is what you value. Maybe your personal finances here. There is some sort of harmony, balance, grounding that is going to be taking place. And so for you, this is all happening in your first house. And so trying to reconcile how you feel about yourself and the way that you're seen. There's some sort of blending of energy here that is going to make you feel better about all of these changes that are starting to take place, because this is 5 days after this Pluto station's retrograde. So you're going to have a few days for this energy to kind of build within you. At the same time that the sun is conjunct the sun and the moon are also conjunct Venus, all in the sign of Taurus. And so Venus is stability, security, really thinking here, what is it that you're trying to do? So how do you want to be seen? How do you feel about the way that you're being seen? There's a lot of harmony connected to this. How does that align with your values? What is it that you want for yourself? There's a lot of that type of energy. The sun and moon are also going to be conjunct Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. And so what kind of growth or expansion are you looking for from a physical standpoint? What is it about yourself that you're trying to grow here? We'll also have the sun and moon conjunct Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so as you're kind of going through all of this, what needs to change? Because that's what Uranus is all about. It's about sudden change here as it relates to who you are. So this could be sudden changes to your diet, maybe some sort of level of physical activity, whether you want to increase it, decrease it, whatever it needs to be. Maybe something else from just, I was getting a medical standpoint when I was writing all this out. So that might be significant for somebody out there, but this is a lot about, okay, what kind of changes do you need to make to yourself in order for you to feel good about who you are, grow the way that you want to grow, and just really kind of be in harmony with yourself here. We'll also have the sun and moon sextile Neptune and Pisces. And so this is creating an opportunity for you to have the type of maybe relationships you want in the community, be seen in a specific way. This is really about just what opportunities are in front of you, what changes are you making to yourself, and then what kind of doors is that opening up for you? Because that does seem to be a theme so far this month for you. And then on the 15th, we'll have Mercury enter the sign of Taurus. And so that's going to happen at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time. And so we'll have Mercury, Venus, Sun, Jupiter, and Uranus all in Taurus. So again, a lot of Taurus energy at the beginning of the month. We'll have Mercury in the sign of Taurus. It's going to be trine the moon in Leo. And so this is an interesting one because the moon in Leo is all about some sort of creative self-expression. Mercury in Taurus, so this is about communicating your needs, communicating your wants, but doing it in a very grounded, very practical way. So you've got this grounded way of maybe kind of down-to-earth way of speaking or processing information, but then also expressing yourself creatively. So it's an interesting mix of energy here. And so this is creating some sort of, I'm trying to think of the right words for this one because the energy does blend pretty easily here. The trine is really more like a Jupiter type of energy. So this could be growth, this could be expansion. And maybe that's what this is all about. Maybe it's communicating something along the lines of some sort of creative expansion that you're trying to do, or it's giving you this opportunity to really speak about yourself and maybe speak about what you want in a way that really resonates with people, that might be very poetic, very flowery from that perspective. It is a lot about creative self-expression. We'll also have Mercury square Pluto in Aquarius. And so again, Pluto's retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And so Mercury sitting in your first house of self square the changes that are happening, these internal changes as they relate to your career and public reputation. And so maybe it isn't you're communicating yourself in a way that you feel is completely authentic, or maybe you are, and that's creating some sort of issue with the way that you want to be seen from a career standpoint. Like this could, I'm getting like an artist type of vibe where you have this kind of, this job where maybe your hobbies and your job don't align. I'm just going to use this as a hypothetical. And your everyday career and your hobbies, not that they're necessarily at odds with each other, but they just don't blend. And so whatever you're doing, however you're expressing yourself creatively, like let's say you're a banker and you also do poetry. Not that that's a bad thing by any means, but they just don't align. And so do you want to be known? Do you want to spend more of your time working on your creative side, or do you want to spend more time working on your career side? And so one of those is going to have to give. And so this is where that obstacle or challenge comes into play. It's about which one are you going to prioritize, what matters the most to you. And so this Mercury in Taurus square Pluto retrograde in Aquarius in your 10th house, this could also be, because it is creating some sort of obstacle or challenge, this could actually create some sort of obstacle or challenge around your personal time too, because that is about who you are, what you need physically. You physically need downtime. So is there something maybe about your career, you're overworking yourself, you're taking on a lot of additional responsibilities, whatever this is, there is an opportunity here. And you can work with the energy, just like I said before. With a square, it's a little bit more difficult because this is an obstacle or challenge, but this is something that you can work through. And then on the 20th, we'll have the sun enter Gemini. So that's going to happen at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And so when that happens, we'll have the sun will be conjunct Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus, but they're all sitting in the sign of Taurus. And so the sun in Gemini is all about self-expression, but in a curious type of way. Gemini is a very intellectual sign, very detail-oriented, really wants to understand all the whys, wants to understand all the details. And so with the sun sitting in Gemini, there's a lot of that type of expansive conversation, the way that you're expressing yourself. But we have this Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus. So Venus and Jupiter being the benefic planets, Jupiter being the most benefic. So this is about what you value, how do you want to grow, like what kind of person do you want to be? Uranus, what kind of changes need to happen here? Because that's all sitting in your first house of self. That is who you physically are. And so it's about maybe expressing yourself in a way that comes across as very balanced, kind of has everything together. You've got this plan for yourself. You've got this growth strategy. You're making the necessary changes in order to achieve it. There's a lot of positive around all of that. We'll also have the sun trine Pluto retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And so sun in Gemini is impacting your second house. So there's a lot with your personal finances as they all play into how you're expressing yourself. This could be, again, your spending habits, savings habits, because this is your personal finances that I spoke about in the beginning. And so trine Pluto retrograde in Aquarius in your 10th house, there is a direct relationship here between your personal finances and what you're trying to achieve within your personal finances and the kind of changes that you're trying to make for yourself. So if you are trying to advance in your career, and let's say it's my other hypothetical where you're picking up additional responsibilities, things like that, all in the effort to get a promotion. This is a kind of that blending of the energies, because this would give you an opportunity here to really expand your income, or maybe give you an opportunity to save more money, reduce your spending, something along those lines. It's about really focusing here on the details of what you value, focusing on that. The sun will also be sextile Neptune and Pisces. So Neptune and Pisces, again, thinking about what are your dreams when it comes to your community? How do you want to be seen among your friends? With the sun in Gemini in your second house, sextile Neptune and Pisces. So if you do have a savings plan, and that is part of your self-expression, that is how you want to see yourself. You want to see yourself as somebody who can retire by the age of 50 or whatever it is. what kind of opportunity does that create within your group of friends or the way that they see you? Because that's what it's doing here. That is creating some sort of opportunity. It's opening up some sort of door. You are going to have to take action. This isn't something that's just going to be handed to you, but that is showing up here with the sun entering Gemini. And then we have the full moon in Sagittarius. So that's going to happen on the 23rd at 9:53 a.m. Eastern time. And so when this happens, the sun and moon are at opposite points in the sky. So we'll have the sun is in Gemini, the moon is in Sagittarius. Just to kind of talk about the energy a little bit. Sun in Gemini, self-expression, very detail-oriented, very curious. With the moon in Sagittarius, Sagittarius is all about the truth, big picture. It is your personal philosophy. This is all about expansion and growth. And so what is it that you want to achieve? Like, how do you expand the way that you feel about something? This is an opposing type of energy. And so there's some sort of disconnect between the details that you're trying to implement versus maybe the big picture. This could be related to, okay, I've got these spending and saving habits that I'm trying to implement here. That's your second house. That's at sun in Gemini. Like, I've got this plan for myself. This is what I want to do. I've figured out the details. And now it's opposite the moon in Sagittarius, which is your 8th house. Your 8th house being other people's money. So this would be the money you get from your employer. Could be some sort of inheritance, could be some sort of debt. And so there's something about maybe your savings plan and the debt that you have, or your savings plan and the money that you earn, that they don't seem to be fully aligned here. So this is going to create some sort of obstacle or challenge in order for you to really have that financial security that you're looking for, really implement that savings plan that you have in mind. But there's a lot of energy happening during this full moon, so bear with me, because we'll have the sun conjunct Jupiter, Venus, and Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so kind of going back to that energy from above, this is going to impact your second house. This is going to impact your first house. So really expressing yourself, expressing what you value, that savings plan, what kind of changes you need to make to yourself in order to grow your savings here, because this is a conjunction. So this is a very easy blending of the energy. This doesn't require any effort from you at all. What will require effort is we'll have the moon opposite Jupiter, Venus, and Uranus, because again, they're at opposite points in the sky. And so when this happens, the moon in Sagittarius in this 8th house is going to be opposite your first house. And so where your personal finances, you're able to make some changes to yourself in order to grow, in order to expand. But it does look like you have some friction, either with some debt that you already have that you need to pay off, or just the amount of money that you bring in, maybe from an outside employer, something along those lines. Could even be spouse's income. That is also in the 8th house. Then we'll have the moon in Sagittarius trine Neptune in Pisces. And so trine, very easy energy. I'm not going to have to put any effort into here. So the moon in the 8th house is about, okay, what do you want when it comes to your money? How do you feel about the money that you bring in, whether it's on a regular basis, whatever this is, or maybe it's the debt that you have? And how does that help you when it comes to the type of relationships you want to have with your friends, or the way you want to be seen among your friends? Because this trine Neptune in Pisces is sitting in your house of friends. Is there something here about the money that you make and the type of money you spend when you're out with friends, or maybe you don't spend a lot of money out with friends, because that would be something that would maybe help you here. It's something about that type of energy. It's, you know, the money that you bring in and the money that you're spending, maybe spending when you're out with friends, that is in alignment here. We'll also have the sun in Gemini, so it'll be sextile Neptune in Pisces. And so both of these are, so we've got the moon trine and we have the sun sextile Neptune in Pisces. And so this is going to be your second house. So we already talked about the money you bring in. You're not overspending when it comes to your friends. You have enough in order to pay your bills when you go out with your friends. But does that align with the savings plan that you have set up for yourself? Because this is creating an opportunity for you to maybe spend less, go out with them less, or maybe change up where you're going and figure out, you know, instead of going out to dinner all the time, maybe I cook instead, and maybe we rotate and we decide to do that once a month or whatever it is. And so this is creating an opportunity for you to really kind of put everything here into an alignment, because it does look like this is creating a pretty good opportunity here. But we'll also have the sun trine Pluto retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And so when it comes to your personal finances, there is some sort of connection here with the changes that you're making to yourself in order to have the career that you want or the public reputation that you want, because that Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is impacting your career. We'll also have the moon sextile this energy. So when it comes to those changes you want to make to yourself or make within your career, more internal, again with that Pluto retrograde, it is creating an opportunity to maybe get that promotion or maybe get a bonus or something here at work, increase your finances some way in a way that has it coming from outside sources. This would not be money that you already have. And so this is a really positive aspect here, because what I see happening with your finances is that it's almost like you're just getting things back into some sort of realignment here. You're figuring out where you spend it, why you spend it. Is there some sort of opportunity to cut back? At the same time, is there some sort of opportunity to maybe bring in more money? Because that's all coming through so far in the month of May. Then the same day that we have the full moon, we also have Venus enter the sign of Gemini. And so this is going to happen a few hours later. The full moon was at 9:53 in the morning. This is going to happen at 4:31 in the afternoon in Eastern time. And so when this happens, Venus will be conjunct the sun because it just happened. This is really, really positive. So Gemini again, if I could get the word out, it's curious, intelligent, intellectual. Those are the words that were trying to come out here. But with this Venus energy, you might be flirtatious, very talkative, very just expressive about who you are, being very social. That's that Venus and Gemini energy. And so when it comes to your second house, there is something about the way that you're spending your money or the way that you're saving your money as it relates to maybe social endeavors, the way that you want to, like maybe it's an opportunity to, instead of going out to lots of little places throughout the month, maybe saving up and going to like one nicer place throughout the month, because there's something here about being very social and maybe kind of spreading your wings a little bit here. I don't know why I'm getting that, but it does feel like that. And so conjunct the sun in Gemini, again, all in your second house. So this is about focusing on those details. What is that plan that you have for yourself? How do you want to kind of implement that savings plan that you have for yourself? And how does that relate to any kind of social events that you're going to? We'll also have Venus conjunct Jupiter and Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Jupiter, the other benefic planet, so Venus and Jupiter, again, both benefic. And Uranus is all about sudden change. And so very, very positive here because you've got Venus and Gemini, so very social, very curious, very talkative, conjunct Jupiter and Uranus. And so what is it that you want to grow here about yourself? How do you want to be seen? Are you trying to grow something about yourself? Uranus, what kind of changes are you making to your physical body or just the way that people see you in general? And how does that relate to you being very social right now? This is a very, very positive aspect here. We'll also have Venus trine Pluto retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And so again, Venus in your second house, trine Pluto retrograde in your 10th house. And so your personal finances, as they relate to your career and your public reputation, what kind of changes are you making here? Because this is an alignment. This is a trine. This is a very easygoing type of energy. What is it that you want? Talking about the things that you value and how does that align with your career and public reputation? So this feels very growth oriented. Very expansive. I mean, we did just have the conjunct in Jupiter conversation. So this is a really positive thing here. And it continues to get that way. So we'll have Venus sextile Neptune and Pisces. There's a lot happening here. And so with this energy here, it's being curious about what you want and what you value as it relates to your circle of friends. It's really giving you an opportunity to maybe have the conversation around, you know what, I don't want to go out 3 nights a week or 2 nights a week. Maybe we narrow it down to 1, or maybe I, scale back a little bit here. And these are the reasons why. And it's about having maybe that kind of conversation, really getting into the details here. It's creating some sort of opportunity in order to maybe hold on to the type of relationships you have with your friends, not make any modifications to those. So that's being highlighted. Venus in Gemini will also be opposite the moon in Sagittarius, because remember, this is the same day as the full moon. And so Venus in Gemini, second house, so very talkative, very detail oriented when it comes to your finances, creating some sort of obstacle or challenge when it comes to the money that you're receiving from outside sources. So again, it could be spouse's income, an income you get from an employer. It could be some sort of inheritance. It could even be debt. So something about somebody else's money here is maybe not quite, and I say not quite because this energy can be worked with. You can find a way to make this work. It does require effort on your part to really overcome the obstacle or challenge, but it is possible to have the type of financial security that you're looking for. So we had Venus enter Gemini. Now we have Jupiter entering Gemini. And so 2 days later, on the 25th, we'll have Jupiter enter Gemini. And so that's going to happen at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll have the Sun, Venus, and Jupiter all in Gemini. And so this is all about self-expression, harmony, growth, all about maybe the details of all of this. And so for you, again, impacting your second house, because they are, I mean, again, self-expression through your finances, what you value. You've got Venus, which is all about bringing things together. What is it that you want? What is it that you value? Because Venus is just that type of energy, and Jupiter is expansive. It's growth. I mean, there's so much, really, Sun, Venus, Jupiter, all positive energy, all sitting in your house of personal finances. So this is a really positive time to implement whatever savings plan that you're trying to implement here. You are going to run into maybe some obstacles and challenges along the way, but they're not going to stop you from being able to execute. You can definitely overcome them. And so we'll have Jupiter conjunct the Sun and Venus, which I just talked about. It's really just the blending of those energies. It'll also be conjunct Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so Uranus and Taurus is all about who you are physically. And so what changes are happening to you to help you grow your personal finances? Pretty straightforward there. We'll also have Jupiter trine Pluto retrograde in your 10th house here of career and public reputation. So again, what kind of changes are you making internally in order to go after the type of career that you want, have that public reputation that you want? And then how does that align with your personal finances? Because this is giving you an opportunity for growth. There's something that you've been doing. There's something that you've been working on. Feels a lot like getting recognized for all your efforts here and being rewarded through like a bonus or something here. We'll also have Jupiter sextile Neptune and Pisces. And so again, it's creating some sort of opportunity for you to take what you value, take what you're trying to do with your own personal finances, and really maybe have the conversation with your friends. Gemini is very talkative. It could be about helping them understand maybe why you don't go out all the time anymore. And so a lot of focus this month on your personal finances and just the impact of money coming in. How do you grow more money? What kind of friction might exist? So it's actually a really positive month for you, Taurus. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was the end. So Taurus, this is your reading. I hope it resonates. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.